It's been a difficult morning, very low today. I was feeling quite low yesterday. That's kind of when it started, and I wonder if it's also a response from just a difficult week or so that I've had, and things have been. I think things have been, or I could say another way to put it perhaps is the mind and body has absorbed a lot of sort of anxiety and pain as well the past week. So kind of been a bit more in, was very heightened, and I was kind of more in sort of a kind of panicky survival mode just to figure out things. And I'm wondering how much of that is, maybe it doesn't matter how much of it is, maybe it's enough to say that that perhaps that could factor in, and also perhaps with depression there's maybe the cycles and moods as well, where for whatever reason a sort of a low mood can arise, so I'm wondering if that's part of it as well. But when I woke up this morning, I was quite physically tired. That's another thing I felt yesterday as well. I went to get a few bits of grocery yesterday, and I was like, it was just so energy depleting just to walk back, and I realised this morning I needed some groceries. There's some things I'd run out of that I couldn't. I needed to kind of get today. So I was brushing my teeth, thinking, I don't know if I can get myself to go out. I just feel so, when feeling really low, and it's natural. And there's a natural feeling of want to not want to do anything. Everything just feels like it's energy depleting and it's painful to do. But again, I realised that I really needed to get some essentials that I didn't have. So I kind of decided not to shower, which is not. It's been a while since I've done that. I've been generally quite good. It was just easy not to, even though I know I was able to shower. I'd feel a bit better in myself naturally, just feeling refreshed and clean, and I kind of almost, like, after brushing my teeth, washing my face, had to kind of almost just push myself out the door, knowing that if there was any delay, that it would just be so much harder for me to get myself to go. And again, I was really physically tired, and I'm wondering if that's to do with my IBS as well, or my stomach is still really unsettled and it's been really painful as well. So, and I know another kind of maybe contributing to mood is that, where I think they talk about the gut being like the second brain, and it's like obviously the nervous system connecting from the gut to the brain. So I'm sure that maybe that's played a part as well, because it's been a week or more. My stomach's been up and down. And just sticking with that for the moment, it's been quite painful, so I've just tried to figure out my diet over the next couple of days that could support my symptoms of IBS. So I've got 4 jacket potatoes I can sort of make today and have two for dinner today, maybe on its own, maybe with some mayonnaise or something, and then 2 tomorrow. I think that's usually a safe thing for the stomach, easy to digest. And then I can have like porridge today and maybe some peanut butter on toast. So maybe for the next couple of days just have those things. See how my stomach reacts to that. I did buy some cultured sort of little drinks. Although they've got milk in, which it puts me off. I've kind of decided just to think, okay, that was all that was available in the shop I went to. So I thought maybe I can just try and have that, and hopefully the milk won't. It's a very small amount. The drink's quite small, so hopefully it won't contribute to the IBS in that respect. But maybe the live cultures and stuff in it will help with my gut. So I wonder if that's also contributing to really physical exhaustion. When I was walking to get the groceries this morning, I was just, at every footstep, I was just sort of telling myself, just take one more footstep. I was just really not knowing if I'd make it there and back. It was just so painful, and I'm that tired, and the mood's low as well, so that's probably also making me more tired or less able for me to kind of conjure the energy to continue. And again, the walk there and back just felt so much longer than it sometimes usually does. It's hard to feel good that I've done it. On the one hand, in theory, I can see that all of that effort there's some sort of small accomplishment there with my circumstance, my symptoms, and the way I'm feeling today. It's hard to feeling this low. It's really hard to acknowledge anything at the moment. So I've just got a peppermint tea. I thought I'd maybe fast until lunchtime, because I know sometimes fasting can also help the immune system. It can help the digestive tracts as well, I think. Something about fasting creates there's a natural sort of bacteria gets created that helps, something along those lines. So it's just coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning, so I managed to get out for the groceries, and not showering helped getting out a bit early. So I got out quite early today for the groceries, and only just got back about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Surprising how long it can take. So it kind of took me like an hour and a half. It was like, kind of a half an hour sort of slow walk there and back, half an hour back, so an hour, then maybe half an hour in the shop. Did have the intentional plan to go to the library today at 11, and it's strange, it still feels like I need to do that perhaps, but also it feels like I don't have the energy to do that. It's kind of like knowing that that's the healthy habit, and also referring back to the 6 steps of the depression cure, to kind of engaging activity. But it also feels like I think generally what the 6 steps probably don't cover is trauma stuff, maybe, and that's sometimes I kind of have to factor that in and not just do those 6 steps at face value and think, okay, or expect those 6 steps to kind of fully resolve everything, because it doesn't. Obviously, it may not help with trauma in that sense. That may be other things that need to be done to help with that, but it's maybe not putting too much weight, even though sometimes reading a book like that, it can feel like, okay, doing these 6 steps will resolve lots of things, or but I don't know. So still don't know what I'm doing really. Part of me wants to kind of just stay here, not out of preference, but just out of desperate, necessity of my energy. I know on that side it just feels really depressing to kind of stay in here. Talked about that before, and it's obviously quite a small space, so to kind of stay in for long periods, it can really affect me as well. And that was one of the reasons of considering trying to get a bigger space, which is all not possible at the moment. So I'm trying to kind of maybe emotionally calculate if I can push myself going to the library, if that will somehow not necessarily even help, but just somehow allow time to go by that I'm not in here. Obviously, maybe help as well, I guess, to keep I'm just wondering if I have the energy to kind of to get myself there and actually make it worthwhile to kind of just be there. I think it's also the case of just making the actual just walking. You said 10 minutes away, 10-minute walk, but I feel body just feels so heavy and tired. Perhaps maybe it's a better thing for me not to fast if I am going there. Maybe I need a bit of energy to do that. So maybe we can have some toast or something now. Like maybe have like porridge when I get back or something. I guess ultimately I don't want to add more pain to myself, so I'm trying to figure that out now as well. If I kind of struggle to get there, stay for like 5 minutes and then struggle all the way back, it just feel like a bit more painful and difficult. But maybe it's worth a try, because I just feel like staying in now won't be good for me. I just feel like I'll spiral more. I think my mood would just want to spiral more. But at the same time, it's just take a lot of energy to push myself to do this, to go to the library. I take all of my energy and effort to just do that, and if I have it in me. Also, like I need like a long hug. I think that's probably what I need. I feel like I've been exploring that a little bit with the counsellor to not hugs, but it's virtual, so it wouldn't be possible. But the needs that I have, and trying to tap into that, 'cause that's something that's always really blocked, like feelings and I think I don't know if the word's tactile, I think that might be the word, but like physical touch, and that sort of, maybe that's what I'm most wired for, perhaps. I think there's that quiz about love languages and things, and mine was physical touch was the first, and I related to that, perhaps. I had a funny thought, being at the doctor's and they just prescribe you, okay, instead of like medicine of tablet form, it's like, okay, you need 4 long hugs each day, okay, write your prescription for that. But it's just a funny thought. That would be quite cool though. Don't know who you would get it from though, but you'd have to find somebody to maybe hold a write like a sign saying 3 hugs, and I've done that once a long time ago, with some friends at the time. Yeah, so these are my options really. If I was to stay in, I'd probably just try and find something to watch and sort of escape into, which is what I did last night. I just found a series. I'm using like I've got an access to like a free kind of streaming thing, which it's very limited. It's not like Netflix, but at least it's something. And so I found something on there to watch last night, which I just kind of sort of melted into and watch. I try to also just remain a bit mindful while watching. Try to just, of course, I wasn't able to like for a lot of the time, but there was times where I just was aware of my body and aware of me watching and engaging in it, not just sort of unconsciously losing myself in that. So that was something I tried to do. And I think with this low mood, which is a pattern sometimes, the mind wants to sort of zoom out and look at all of my life and analyze it and think, maybe it wants to sort of feel worse about itself. It wants to, so I can easily, look at my life and that sort of voice, that energy, the low mood energy would probably just, shake its head at my life and circumstances and people I've let down or hurt or, things I failed at or not been able to do. And it's very easy, it's such a slippery slope to, I've been able to kind of hold back from that and just, I've got some awareness in me, so I'm not sort of completely free falling. It feels like I'm falling, but I'm aware of it. So, which is very different. Sometimes if you're free falling and you're not aware, it's so much easier to just do. There's less of a filter and thought process on behaviours or doing certain things, saying stuff to certain people, and all of that stuff. So. Maybe just sitting here for a bit as well is just perhaps helping. Sometimes when these really difficult feelings arise, it's part of it is just trying to surrender to it in some ways, because there's there's nothing really that can be done. In some ways, you can only just do your best to sort of not make it worse. In some ways, I don't know if maybe in some ways just to allow the feelings to take their course. And I think with perhaps habit in the past, and maybe there's a unconscious comforting in want to engage in these low thoughts and make them worse, and like kind of feel sorry for oneself, and almost like I don't know if it's the same as when you kind of like bang a part of the body like a bit, especially as a kid, and you kind of rub it to kind of comfort it. And I wonder if that's an equivalent thing that that can be done with, or that I do with sort of low mood, is just sort of want to make it worse and want to. Sometimes there's a comfort in another thing that's I mentioned counselling. There's a comfort in hitting rock bottom sometimes, because you can't. There's relief in that, because you can't go any. Of course, in some respects you can go lower, but generally speaking, you're kind of at the lowest point, and there's a relief in that as well, because you're kind of there's nothing to be lost now. Whenever you make progress with things, or things are going well, you've had a good day, or you can see perhaps the growth of something, and then when you start feeling low, that that's on the line a little bit, or that's that whatever you built up is obviously being threatened a little bit as well. So it's more painful. But then soon as when it's lost, it's like you've got nothing. That threat and everything else is gone, and in some ways there's relief in that. So maybe that's the pull that's there at the moment, of sort of wanting to engage and wanting to sort of identify with that. And I know part of that's the nature of sort of old emotional pain or trauma. Just of my sort of basic understanding is that it wants to kind of it wants more of that, and it wants to kind of almost pull you in and keep you there a little bit, until at some point you kind of rise back out from it at some point. but going into it, obviously it's a destructive sort of cycle, and there's there's a lot to, you kind of never sort of leave that unscathed. You've almost, even you come out the other side of that, but it's always more wounds and other things, difficulties as well that may have occurred there, while kind of giving in to those sort of emotions and losing yourself in them. I guess there's a sense where it takes stamina and strength to not fall into those emotions. It takes a bit of strength and perseverance to kind of try and remain in somewhat in the presence, remain present and remain rooted, and not fall into that sort of emotional narrative of that everything's just everything's just a waste of time and everything's a failure and all that stuff. It can, it just takes one sort of sweep of thoughts to kind of almost completely completely sort of taint how your life looks. So it's just it's just very destructive, very quick as well, these kinds of thoughts. So definitely try my best not to go into that. So, okay, it's now probably definitely past 10 o'clock and need to figure out what I'm doing. I guess at least I've got food sorted for the next couple of days in that sense, because I don't have the energy to cook, so that's even though it takes some effort, even though it's really simple sometimes to scrub the potatoes and paste them and put some oil on and put them in the oven, that can sometimes all just take effort as well, but that's for the evening. So hopefully maybe in the evening I'll have the energy to do that. So maybe it seems like I'm gonna try and get myself to the library, and I may leave a bit early just to upload this at the park, and then head to the library and try not to have any expectations, even if I'm just sitting there for an hour or so and I've written a sentence or two, that's fine. It's more so just to perhaps not be here, which may provoke more spiraling or and maybe if I'm back in the afternoon, there's still a lot of time here in the day. Actually, I just realised usually in the library at most I can last like an hour and a half, or especially with my lack of stamina of writing. Usually I'd probably want to maybe just go for a walk or a wander, but with my physical energy I don't know if that's possible. And go into a cafe, of course, there's the expense of that. So I'm also I've got definitely a tighter budget now of things, so I'm not sure if that's, plus maybe coffee's not a good idea for my IBS, so maybe that rules that out. Plus I don't know if I want to be around a busy sort of a noisy space as well, such as that. Maybe just figure things out later. Just go to the library, and maybe I want to come back and just watch something, and maybe that's enough to break up the day a bit. At least in the afternoon, evening, it's a bit. As it draws to the evening, it's a bit easier, I find, to be inside, because it's like evening time and you're closing in on a day, so it makes you kind of see the finish line almost. So maybe in the afternoon it may not be too bad, perhaps. Maybe there's some good as well of just trying to rest. rest my mind and body. It feels like I want to cry, but I just struggle to. It's been like that for so long now, actually. And whenever I do get to the point of crying, it's never like a proper cry. It's more just a release of tears. It's never really, I don't know if there's something in me that's too afraid to cry, or too not connected enough to really let myself go like that. Maybe I'm constantly perhaps trying to put on a bit of a brave face, or even to myself, even being alone sometimes. I don't know how to sometimes get access to those feelings, or release them in those ways. So kind of I think that's where writing comes in a bit, where it allows me to kind of filter some of my emotions in my writing, in my characters, and that's maybe why sometimes the subjects I write about are a bit dark, or a bit, not always maybe the reflection of what I'm trying to release, or I should, maybe that's enough. I feel like I just want to sit here, and if that would be strange, just sit here and not have to say anything, but just know, while I'm recording this, there's a different quality to it than just sitting alone. Maybe it feels like there's some company. Just see if I can see the time on my computer. 10:21. Yeah, I should go now, I think. So I think have some toast and stuff, and maybe get outside to upload this, and then head to the library. I'm not sure when I'll record again. If I'll maybe record later, sometimes when I'm really low, maybe this helps a little bit to try and do that. And it's a funny thing when I mention about the crying as well. It's similar to when I'm recording here. It feels like sometimes it's hard for me to fully let go a little bit, and that's something I want to try and work on and do. I can do it to a certain extent of, like, I think usually how I am on here, sometimes it's hard for me to show that side to, I guess I'm not really around friends enough, really. They're kind of usually shorter. If I was to spend like a whole long day with a friend, maybe they'll, that side of, or there'll be moments where I'm able to kind of let myself go a bit more, perhaps, or I don't know, maybe that's for another vlog. Okay, so peanut butter on toast, got the peppermint tea, library, and I'll see how it goes after that, but maybe that's good enough for now.